Tumechoka. Wananchi.
Ladies and gentlemen, this country is slowly sliding back into a banana republic.
I've seen Gen Z's getting tear gassed. Kula tear gas. Hata sisi tumekula tear gas.
The kind of leadership that was only witnessed during the era of Daniel Toroitich arap Moi.
Kenya wameamua kwamba sasa watashika mamlaka kwa mkono yao wenyewe.
Today being SABASABA Day, Raila Amolo Odinga stated categorically that he is going to commemorate the SABASABA Day in KAMUKUNJI Grounds.
And we decided that we would go to KAMUKUNJI Grounds, which is historical grounds.
Now that move, ladies and gentlemen, has been met with a lot of backlash from Kenyans and Gen Zs who are claiming that Raila Amolo Odinga is being used by William Samoei Ruto together with the rogue Kenya Kwanza government to infiltrate and to shift attention of Kenyans from the real protest that is supposed to be happening in the country.
SABASABA na maandamano sio kidogo, na hiyo nani kubwa Mr. Speaker. Sisi kama watu wa Raila, SABASABA inakuwa ya Raila Mr. Speaker. Na mimi nitaenda.
The Gen Zs have warned Raila Amolo Odinga from appearing in KAMUKUNJI Grounds, stating that they are going to disrupt that peaceful demonstrations that Raila Amolo Odinga said they are going to hold there.
Nakwambia kwamba hata SABASABA tunakuja.
Remember, Raila Amolo Odinga was one of the key opposition figures who fought for multi-partyism in the Republic of Kenya. That was during the era of Daniel Toroitich arap Moi, that was only operating under a one-party state. The contribution of Raila Amolo Odinga was very immense, together with other key opposition leaders by then, such as Charles Rubia and Kenneth Matiba. Raila Amolo Odinga was also at the forefront to fight for multi-party democracy. Now the face of Raila Amolo Odinga that we are seeing currently is a different face of Raila Amolo Odinga. Raila Amolo Odinga was viewed as a reformist, but the Raila Amolo Odinga that has popped currently is an opportunist. Raila Amolo Odinga is now in bed with William Samoei Ruto under the arrangement of broad-based government. And that is the reason as to why Kenyans have lost confidence in Raila Amolo Odinga. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, that in Kenya, Raila Amolo Odinga was viewed as the only mastermind who could organize protests in Kenya. But now with the fresh wave of Gen Zs, there have been a lot of protests that are meant to dethrone William Samoei Ruto. Now the one-term narrative is becoming a real deal, and the Gen Zs of Republic of Kenya is now a strong political force for William Samoei Ruto to reckon with. Raila Amolo Odinga is operating as a co-president in Republic of Kenya, and together with William Samoei Ruto. Why is it that they are defeated to quell the protests that are happening in Kenya? Ever since William Samoei Ruto got into power, there have been a lot of protests that are meant to dethrone William Samoei Ruto. And these protests, ladies and gentlemen, are mostly targeting the State House of Kenya. That is an anarchy move that Kenyans are now approaching. Kenyans have lost hope in the leadership of William Samoei Ruto. And that is the reason as to why there is constant protests. And it has emerged that the only language that William Samoei Ruto is understanding currently is the language of protests and demonstration. Ladies and gentlemen, remember that it marked an history that under the leadership of William Samoei Ruto, the Gen Zs managed to invade the parliament. The parliament of Kenya, ladies and gentlemen, is a highly protected area. But under this incompetent regime of William Samoei Ruto, the Gen Zs protested and invaded the parliament. Ever since Kenya got independence, no protest has ever targeted State House or the parliament. The Gen Zs, together with other Kenyans, are accusing the regime of William Samoei Ruto of not valuing the needs and the requirements of the people of Republic of Kenya, specifically the Gen Zs. Remember, the hustler narrative that William Samoei Ruto sold to Kenyans was a very good agenda, but it proved to be a blatant lie. William Samoei Ruto has failed to fulfill the promises that he told Kenyans that he's going to fulfill. Remember, currently in the protests that are happening in the country, everybody is bitter with the government of William Samoei Ruto. First and foremost, the Mama Mbogas are bitter. The Gen Zs are bitter. The border borders are bitter. And these are the people who are promised heaven by the leadership of William Samoei Ruto. The opposition has also made sure that they are pushing William Samoei Ruto's regime against the wall. And William Samoei Ruto currently is in a deep political panic. And the advisors of William Samoei Ruto are supposed to do something, because this is not the kind of country that we anticipated 60 years after independence. And the SABASABA protest that is going on in different parts of the country today has taken a fresh dimension, whereby Kenyans got the multi-party democracy that they wanted, but there are still flaws, especially in the government of William Samoei Ruto, that Kenyans are addressing. Kenyans are addressing the police brutality, the abductions that are happening in the country, and among other critical issues ranging from tough economic times. Now, in the protests, there are goons who have been deployed by the state to disrupt peaceful protests with an aim of government trying to criminalize the protests that are happening in the country. They're claiming that the innocent protesters are the ones who are looting properties. Several goons have been deployed by the state to disrupt the peaceful protests that are happening in the country. These goons are meant to negatively profile the kind of protests that are happening in Kenya. These goons are destroying and looting properties. These goons are robbing from innocent protesters. And these goons, ladies and gentlemen, are even raping some women in the protests. That is a very backward move by the government of William Samoei Ruto. And the deployment of goons, ladies and gentlemen, is very dominant in Nairobi County under the leadership of Johnson Sakaja. There are goons who are armed with crude weapons, who are beating protesters, who are looting businesses in the name of negatively profiling the SABASABA demonstration that is happening in the country. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is now the question that I'm posing to you. Do you think that Raila Amolo Odinga has the audacity of criticizing the same government that he is eating from? Remember that Raila Amolo Odinga is now an opportunist. And Raila Amolo Odinga is in the government of William Samoei Ruto, not because he likes William Samoei Ruto, but because he saw an opportunity out of the demonstrations that were held by the Gen Zs to get into the government, to eat from the government, and to make sure that some of his relatives get into some leadership positions in the government. Now, do you think that Raila Amolo Odinga is rightfully presenting the needs of Kenyans? Do you think that Raila Amolo Odinga is fighting for Kenyans? Or do you think that Raila Amolo Odinga is fighting for his stomach? Now, that is a question that I'm posing to you. This is Alois TV. In the event you're watching me for the first time, then please join my channel by hitting the subscribe button. If politics is one of the things that you're passionate about, then this is definitely the one channel for you. Without further ado, let's just meet in the next one.